Hello student, today I will teach you Unit 1, Then and Now, Lesson 4, Vocabulary and Listening. And today we will learn how to describe an object. And after the lesson, I hope that you can identify the context of the dialogue. And today we will learn about time capsule. What does it mean, time capsule? Time capsule is the container with objects that we are typical of the present, left for people in the future. That means the objects in the time capsule help the people in the future know more about the life of the present. So time capsule that means chiếc hộp thời gian. Now I want you to think of two things that you will put into the time capsule and why. Now let's see the example answer. If I have two things to put into the time capsule, first I will put my textbook or a piece of exam paper, because maybe in 20 years students will learn and take exam online. Everything will be saved in the computer and they don't use paper anymore. And my children can see how we learned 20 years ago. And the second thing is trending fashion clothes. In order to see how the trend will change over the years. So my two things is book and clothes. How about your two things? Please think of your own thing and share with us. Now we will read a test about how to make a time capsule. But before you read it, I will teach you some new words first. Look at the new word today. The first one, fragile.
Fragile.
What does it mean?
Fragile.
Fragile means it's easy to break or damage. It's easy to be broken or be damaged. So fragile, that means dễ vỡ. Now repeat.
Fragile. Fragile.
Now move to the next word. We have touch. Touch is opposite fragile.
Tough.
It's strong, not easily broken. So tough in Vietnamese, that means bền chắc. Now repeat.
Tough. Tough. Tough.
The next word, valuable.
Valuable. Valuable.
Means worth, a lot of money. So valuable, that means quý giá, có giá trị. Now repeat.
Valuable. Valuable.
And the next word we have rare.
Rare.
That means not common or unusual. In Vietnamese, it means hiếm. Now repeat after me.
Rare. Rare.
The next one we have old-fashioned. Old-fashioned, that means it's not modern.
Old-fashioned.
Not modern, belonging to or typical of the time in the past. So old-fashioned, that means lỗi thời. Now repeat.
Old-fashioned. Old-fashioned.
And the last word we have time capsule. I explained this word for you already.
Time capsule.
Yeah, it's a container that's filled with objects from the particular time. So that people in the future will know that what life was like then. Now, repeat the old words again. Fragile, tough, valuable, rare, old-fashioned, time capsule. Let's consolidate the new words today. Can you read them both in English and Vietnamese? English, fragile. Vietnamese, dễ vỡ. And Vietnamese, How about English? Can you remember it? It's a tough. And English we have valuable. And Vietnamese is có giá trị, quý giá. The next one we have, can you remember both English and Vietnamese? Yeah, it's rare. And Vietnamese. Next one we have English, old-fashioned. Can you remember Vietnamese? That means lỗi thời. And Vietnamese, chiếc hộp thời gian. How about English? English is time capsule. Let's continue with the exercise 1. Exercise 1. You will read a text and mark the words in blue with their opposite. The first thing, you will read the text and after that you mark the blue ST with their opposite. Here we have the text, how to make the time capsule. And here we have the word, and you have to find the blue word have the opposite meaning with the given word here. Now let's read the text. How to make a time capsule. Use the metal or a plastic container, otherwise objects can become damaged. Think of a few objects which are fashionable right now. You don't need to put brand new objects into your capsule or your valuable collection of action figures. Common objects show people what normal life were like. Put some newspaper stories about important events into your capsule. Put some clips from popular film, TV programs, and so on the memory stick. Include a personal message. It will be useful for people to know who you were. Now look at the given word. The first one, fresh child, unpopular, worthless, old-fashioned, endemic, rare, used, and useless. Now you try to find the blue word have the opposite meaning with the given word. For example, we have fresh child, and fresh child that means the ever, and the word have opposite meaning is tough. Here, tough. And do by yourself from the word from number 1 to number 7. I will give you time to 2 minutes to find out the word have the opposite meaning, or you can stop my video and give your answer. Do you have your answer? Now let's check together. Number 1, unpopular, and we have opposite is popular. Worthless, that means không có giá trị, and the opposite meaning is, the opposite word is valuable. Old-fashioned, and we have opposite word is fashionable. And we have endemic, and opposite is demic. Rare, and opposite is common. Rare does mean hiếm, and what does mean common? That means phổ biến, bình thường. Number 6 we have used. This means đã qua sử dụng, and the opposite word is brand new, mới tinh, mới toanh. Useless, vô ích, and we have opposite word is useful, hữu ích. Now repeat after me. Unpopular, popular, worthless, valuable, old-fashioned, fashionable, endemic, demic, rare, common, used, brand new, useless, useful. Move to exercise 2. Look at exercise 2. Pronunciation. Straight in an adjective. Listen to repeat how many syllables are there in each adjective. Copy and complete the table with the adjective. Let me make it more clear. The first one, how about the syllable? What does it mean, syllable? Look at the word holiday. Holiday, we have holly and day. That we have 3 syllables. Holiday. 1, ho, 2, ly, 3, day. So holiday have 3 syllables. Look at the word television. 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 Tear. 1, ler, 2, v, 3, zen, 4. Televisions have 4 syllables. Look at this word, English. English. We have English. 1, less, 2. English have 2 syllables. So, do you understand what does it mean, syllable? Now look at one more word, man. Man. We have just 1 sound, man. So man have 1 syllable. So you can see that in English, each word have the different number of syllable. Maybe it's just 1 syllable, or 2, or 3, or 4 syllable in one word. And how about straight? Now look at the holiday word again. We have holiday. When I say holiday, I raise up my voice in the first syllable, ha. Ha. I say holiday. So the straight will put on the first syllable. Here, the word television. Television. The stress, I raise up my voice on the first syllable. Television. So the stress put on the first syllable. And now let's look at the word, another word. For example, I have the word begin. Now, how many syllables are there? How many syllables are there? Number 1, be, and the 2, gin, right? And I say begin, begin. So I put the straight at the second syllable. So the straight, I will put the second syllable. But holiday, the first syllable. Television, television, the first syllable. English, the straight put in the first syllable. So you see this in English. The main straight falls on different syllables in different words. And now, let's practice. I have some adjective here. And now, you see this is 1 syllable. And here we have 2 syllables. Here we have 3 syllables. And here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 syllables. And you will put the adjective have 1 syllable here. For example, we have rare, just 1, right? So you will put in this column. And here we have common. Common. We have car, one syllable. Man, two syllable. So we will put here, put in this column. Now, do you understand? Yes or no? Now, please post the video and do it by yourself. Have your own answer. Now, let's check together. Let's listen, and after that we will check together.
Unit 1. Pronunciation. Exercise 2.
Common. Damaged. Fashionable. Fragile. Rare. Tough. Undamaged. Unpopular. Useful. Valuable.
Now, we will listen, repeat, and correct together.
Unit 1. Pronunciation. Exercise 2.
Common.
Common. So we have two syllables. We have put here, common.
Unit 1. Pronunciation.
And now, the next one.
Exercise 2.
Common. Damaged.
Damage. We have dare and make. So we have two syllables too. So we put damage in two syllables.
Fashionable.
Fashionable. You see, fashionable. So we have four syllables. Fashionable. We have four syllables. We put here.
Fragile.
We have fragile. Fragile. So we have frag, one, child, two. So we have two syllables, fragile.
Rare.
We have rare, just one. So we put it here.
Tough.
We have tough. Tough. Just one, two. So we put it here.
Undamaged.
We have undamaged. Undamaged. So we have undamaged. It's three syllables. So we put it here.
Unpopular.
We have unpopular. 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 So we put in four syllables here. Okay, I make a mistake here. Here we have just four syllables, but here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I make a mistake. So we have to correct it. Just 4, not 5. Okay. Now continue.
Useful.
Useful. Useful. We have used and for, two syllables. So we put it here.
Valuable.
Valuable. Valuable. Valuable. Valuable. We have valuable. Valuable. Just three syllables. So we have put it here. We put on the new word, on the adjectives to the fourth column, and now we will put the stress on the syllable. So can you remember? Now, with one syllable, we don't the stress because it's only have one syllable, so the stress will put on it. And how about 2 or 3 and 4 syllable? Now we will repeat and find out where we put the stress. Common, common. So the stress is the first syllable, common. Damage, damage, the first 2. Fragile, fragile, which syllable? First or second? The first. Useful, useful, the first or the second? The first. Endemic, endemic, the first, the second, or the third? The second. Endemic. Valuable, valuable, so we have valuable, the first. Fashionable, fashionable, we have the stress on the first 2. Unpopular, unpopular, the stress on the second one. So you can see in English, you can see that in English the main stress fall on different syllables in different words. Here we have some word. Here we have some word. The stress on the first syllable, but here we have the second syllable. The second syllable. So the stress different in different. The stress is put on different syllable in different words. To the exercise 3. In exercise 3, you will listen to the beginnings of the postcard. What is it about? Now let's read the study strategy. Identifying the context. Identify, that means xác định. The context, that means ngữ cảnh, tức là xác định ngữ cảnh. When you listen, try to identify the context and the situation. Khi mà mình nghe thì mình cố gắng xác định xem là cái ngữ cảnh hoặc là cái tình huống là gì. This will help you understand the details more easily. Và cái điều này sẽ giúp cho các em hiểu được cái chi tiết của bài một cách dễ dàng hơn. Now we will listen to the beginning of the postcard and you try to identify the context of the dialogue. But before you listen, let's read the context. First, we have 3 contexts here, and now you will listen the beginning of the postcard and choose the correct context for the dialogue. Now look at the option A, the drama about discoveries of the time capsules. B, a show about how to make the time capsule. C, the documentary about different time capsules that have been found. Now number B, look at the option A. Option A is drama about discovery time capsule. That's the context A. Context B is show how to make time capsule. And C, documentary about different time capsules been found. What does it mean, documentary? Documentary, that means phim tài liệu. So now let's listen.
Unit 1, Vocabulary and Listening. Exercise 3.
Hi, I'm Amy.
And I'm Eric.
and this is our second podcast about time capsules. Last week, we gave you some tips. This week, we want to talk about some real time capsules.
Let's start with the Boston time capsule, because it's the oldest and it's an interesting story.
Do you have your right options? Now, listen again, and after that we will check together.
Unit 1. Vocabulary and Listening. Exercise 3.
Hi, I'm Amy,
And I'm Eric.
and this is our second podcast about time capsules. Last week, we gave you some tips. This week, we want to talk about some real time capsules.
Let's start with the Boston time capsule, because it's the oldest and it's an interesting story.
So, can you choose the answer A, B, or C? And the right answer here is. Now, let's listen again and we will correct together.
Unit 1. Vocabulary and Listening. Exercise 3.
Hi, I'm Amy.
And I'm Eric.
They just introduced their name.
And this is our second podcast.
We hear that this is the second postcard, the second time,
About time capsules.
about time capsule. So you see, number 1 have time capsule, A we have time capsule, B we also have time capsule, and C we also time capsule. So this can help us to write to choose the right answer. So let's listening. Continue listening.
Last week, we gave you some tips.
Last week we gave you some tips.
This week, we want to talk about some real time capsules.
This week we really want to talk about some real time capsule. Real time capsule. That means the capsules been found. So the right answer is C. The documentary about different time capsules that have been found. Have been found, that means the real time capsule. So the answer is C.
Unit 1. Vocabulary and Listening.
Now let's move to the exercise 4. In the exercise 3, we just listen the beginning of the postcard, and now we will listen to whole postcard and write true or false. Correct the false statement. Before we listen and do true false, I want you to prepare for the exercise by reading the statement first. Now read the statement 1. Worker opened the Boston capsule. So we have the keyword here. A workers open Boston capsule. And number 2, the historic document and records were almost undamaged. We have the document and records and coins. Document and records almost undamaged. Okay, maybe the keyword here, just the keyword here, just document historic document records undamaged. So we have the keyword here, a historic document record undamaged. And number 3, the university president found the crypt of civilization in the 1930s. The university president found the crypt of civilization in the 1930s. Crypt of civilization in the 1930s. And the opening date for the crypt is soon. You have opening date, the crypt, soon. And number 5, people put rare objects into the crypt. People put rare objects the crypt. Now let's listen.
Unit 1. Vocabulary and Listening. Exercise 4.
Hi, I'm Amy.
And I'm Eric.
And this is our second podcast about time capsules. Last week, we gave you some tips. This week, we want to talk about some real time capsules.
Let's start with the Boston time capsule, because it's the oldest and it's an interesting story.
Yes, some builders came across this one in 2015. The workers were repairing a historic building when they found a metal box hidden inside the walls. 2 men had left it there over 220 years ago.
That's right. So, some experts opened the box very carefully because it contained fragile documents. Also inside, there were some unusual coins, a medal, some newspapers from 1795, and some really interesting historic documents, all in amazingly good condition.
Those coins will be pretty valuable now.
Let's look at another one from the USA, but this one is a bit bigger.
Yes, it's enormous. It's in Georgia, and it's called the Crypt of Civilization. People call it the first modern time capsule.
It's really a room, a waterproof room with a massive metal door. The idea for it came from a university president in the 1930s. He wanted future civilizations to have information about us. The opening date is the year 8113.
That's a long, long time.
It certainly is. They finished building the crypt in 1940. The things in the room were ordinary objects in 1940, like typewriters and radios. But looking at the pictures, some of them look very old-fashioned now.
I know. Look at this toaster.
How many statements you can put true or false? You can identify it true or false. So now let's listen again.
Unit 1. Vocabulary and Listening. Exercise 4.
Hi, I'm Amy.
And I'm Eric.
And this is our second podcast about time capsules. Last week, we gave you some tips. This week, we want to talk about some real time capsules.
Let's start with the Boston time capsule, because it's the oldest and it's an interesting story.
Yes, some builders came across this one in 2015. The workers were repairing a historic building when they found a metal box hidden inside the walls. 2 men had left it there over 220 years ago.
That's right. So, some experts opened the box very carefully because it contained fragile documents. Also inside, there were some unusual coins, a medal, some newspapers from 1795, and some really interesting historic documents, all in amazingly good condition.
Those coins will be pretty valuable now.
Let's look at another one from the USA, but this one is a bit bigger.
Yes, it's enormous. It's in Georgia, and it's called the Crypt of Civilization. People call it the first modern time capsule.
It's really a room, a waterproof room with a massive metal door. The idea for it came from a university president in the 1930s. He wanted future civilizations to have information about us. The opening date is the year 8113.
That's a long, long time.
It certainly is. They finished building the crypt in 1940. The things in the room were ordinary objects in 1940, like typewriters and radios. But looking at the pictures, some of them look very old-fashioned now.
I know. Look at this toaster.
Now, can you have your answer? How many questions you can do? It is too long and difficult, isn't it? So if you can answer all the questions, you are very good. But if you can't answer the question, don't worry. We will just listen the clue sentence related to the statement and we will correct together. Now, number 1, worker opened the Boston capsule. Now listen, the clue sentence related to the statement.
2 men had left it there over 220 years ago.
That's right. So, some experts opened the box very carefully because it contained fragile documents.
So now, is it true or false, and why? Can you listen? Now listen again.
2 men had left it there over 220 years ago.
That's right. So,
Now listen carefully here.
some experts opened the box.
We have some experts open the box. Some experts open the box. So expert open the box, not worker. So this is false statement.
Unit 1. Vocabulary and Listening.
And
Exercise 4.
and we will correct not worker but expert. And now number 2, the historic document and records were almost undamaged. Now listen.
So inside, there were some unusual coins, a medal,
You have unusual coins. Unusual coins, that means rare coins.
some newspapers from 1795, and so inside,
No. Now listen again. We have the answer here true, but it's not important. Important that you know why it's true or why it's wrong. So now listen again, and we will find the clue why the statement is true.
there were some unusual coins.
Some unusual coins. Here you can hear unusual coins here.
Coins. Unusual coins, a medal,
A medal,
some newspapers from
some newspaper,
1795,
from 1795,
and some really interesting historic
and some really interesting document. Now listen again. Here we have historic document.
interesting historic documents.
Interesting historic document. So we have unusual coins and historic document. And how about words almost undamaged?
in amazingly good condition. It's really a room, though inside a waterproof room with a massive metal door.
Now listen the last information here.
Historic documents, all in amazingly good condition.
On in the living good. On in amazing good condition. Good condition, that means trong cái hiện trạng tốt. Vậy thì ở trong bài người ta không có dùng từ undamaged mà người ta dùng cái từ good condition, tức là cái thực trạng tốt. Vậy thì chỗ đó nó có nghĩa là undamaged, cho nên chỗ này nó là true. Now move to the statement 3. The university president found the Greek civilizations in the 1930s. Now listen. Is it true or false?
It's really a room, a waterproof room with a massive metal door. The idea for it came from a university president in the 1930s. He wanted future civilizations to have information about us.
Now look at the sentence. A university president found the crypt of civilization. But in the text we have the sentence. Now listen again.
The idea for it came from a university president. Massive metal door. The idea for it.
The idea for it.
The idea for it came from a university president in the 1930s.
The idea for it came from a university president in the 1930s. So the idea for the crypt of civilizations, the idea, not the president found. He come up with the idea of the crypt of civilization, not found. So it's false.
It's really a room.
He has the idea for the crypt in the 1930s, not found. And number 4, now listen.
The opening date is the year 8113. The opening date is the year 8113.
Now listen again.
The opening date is the year 8113.
We hear the opening date is the year 8113. 8113. That's a long time, not soon. Can you hear the year? The year here. Now listen again.
The opening date is the year 8113.
Yeah,
The opening date is the
opening days in 8130s. It's long time, not soon. So it's false. And number 5.
They finished building the crypt in 1940. The things in the room were ordinary objects in 1940, like typewriters and radios. But looking at the pictures, some of them look very old-fashioned now. They finished building.
Here we have the clue sentence. They finished building the crypt in 1940s, and the things in the room were ordinary objects. So we have ordinary object, not rare object. So this is false.
They finished building the crypt in 1940.
And we have correct rare. We change the incorrect word rare into ordinary objects. Now I want you to listen again and try to remember information about Boston capsule and crypt of civilizations. After that, you try to speak some information before the class about 2 time capsule Boston and creep of civilization. Now listen again.
Hi, I'm Amy,
And I'm Eric.
and this is our second podcast about time capsules. Last week, we gave you some tips. This week, we want to talk about some real time capsules.
Let's start with the Boston time capsule, because it's the oldest and it's an interesting story.
Yes, some builders came across this one in 2015. The workers were repairing a historic building when they found a metal box hidden inside the walls. 2 men had left it there over 220 years ago.
That's right. So, some experts opened the box very carefully because it contained fragile documents. Also inside, there were some unusual coins, a medal, some newspapers from 1795, and some really interesting historic documents, all in amazingly good condition.
Those coins will be pretty valuable now.
Let's look at another one from the USA, but this one is a bit bigger.
Yes, it's enormous. It's in Georgia, and it's called the Crypt of Civilization. People call it the first modern time capsule.
It's really a room, a waterproof room with a massive metal door. The idea for it came from a university president in the 1930s. He wanted future civilizations to have information about us. The opening date is the year 8113.
That's a long, long time.
It certainly is. They finished building the crypt in 1940. The things in the room were ordinary objects in 1940, like typewriters and radios. But looking at the pictures, some of them look very old-fashioned now.
I know. Look at this toaster.
Okay, what information can you remember about Boston capsule and crypt of civilization capsule? Let I give you an example first. You will talk about Boston capsule and crypt of civilizations. You can if you can remember, you can base on the the statement two phone here to tell about Boston or crypt of civilization. Now I will give you an example. First, I talk about Boston capsule. Boston capsule is the oldest time capsule. It's over 220 years ago, and two workers found it when they were repairing historic building, and the experts opened it carefully. People found some historic document and unusual coins in it, and they are almost undamaged. That's about the Boston capsule. And how about the crypt of civilization? Look at this. You have some information here, so you can remember more information in the file listening and tell about it. Now, for example, about crypt of civilization. It is a modern time capsule, and a university resident had the idea for it in the 1913s, and people will open it in 1813. The objects in it is ordinary, or you can say they put ordinary object into it in the 1940s. That's some information about Boston capsule and crypt of civilization. So at home, try to tell about two time capsule, and you can record your speaking and send to me. I will mark it for you. That's all for today. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.